नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्णप्रस्थाय भूतले श्रीमते जयपतः गोस्वामिन् इति नामिने नमो आचार्यपदाय निताय कृपप्रदायिने गौरपदाय नगरग्रामस्थायिने नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्णप्रस्थाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिन्निति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवी गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादे पाश्चात्यादिसतारिणे जय श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंदा प्रियाद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृंदा हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 हराय नमः कृष्ण यादवाय नमः गोपाल गोविंद राम श्रीमधुसूदनां युगं करोति वाचालं पंगुं लंघयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं दीनतारिणं परमानन्दमाधवं श्रीचैतन्यमीश्वरं हरि ओम तत्सत्। जय श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय, गुरु महाराज की जय, गीता जयंती महोत्सव की जय, भगवत गीता की जय, निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल। Okay, so today we are starting the glorious Bhagavad Gita. Wish you all a very, very happy Gita Jayanti. And somehow or other, we have ended up in starting the Bhagavad Gita during this time and the most auspicious day of Gita Jayanti, and also where the exact Mahabharata war started today. And then, of course, it was, I think it's for 14 days or something, and later Bhishmadev held his life till the Uttarayana. Uttarayana is when the sun is moving towards the north, and that is January 15th. So somewhere in between the December and the January is where this happened. And especially the Ekadashi, this Mokshata Ekadashi is the day where the Bhagavad Gita was spoken. So in this way, we have this, we are fortunate to be part of this Gita Yajna, which generally is done today in many of the temples all around the world. So here also in Mayapur, we have the recitation of Bhagavad Gita. Okay. So we are just going to see certain aspects of Bhagavad Gita today. We are going to start with the introduction to Bhagavad Gita, reading from tomorrow onwards. But today, because it is auspicious day of the advent of Bhagavad Gita, we will recite maybe 1 or 2, 3 important slokas, some slokas, just like that. So but more important than the sloka is understanding the Bhagavad Gita. This is very, very important, especially if you're a preacher. It's very essential to, Prabhupada said that for preachers, Bhagavad Gita is meant for preachers. So for personal development, we have many books, but for preachers especially, this is a book because it talks about how to handle the material world, what is there, how it is we are created, how we are struck up in this material world, and how to get out of it. All secrets are revealed in this book. Many, many secrets, puzzles of the life are unveiled in this great book. So Bhagavad Gita, as it is specifically written, there are Srimad Bhagavad Gita, many places you can see translations like Srimad Bhagavad Gita. But here, Prabhupada named it specially Bhagavad Gita as it is because the meanings are not interpreted. Rather, Bhagavan is said as Bhagavan. Bhagavan is Krishna. Everybody knows the Bhagavad Gita was spoken in the warfield of Mahabharata. And in the warfield, the Arjuna on one side with Panchapandavas, and on the other side, the Kauravas were 100 brothers, plus they have their Guru Dronacharya, Kripacharya, plus they have the grandsire Bhishma Dev, who's the grandfather. Everybody, all stalwart warriors were there on the Kuru's side, and these 5 boys were dear devotees of Krishna, and one of them is very, very specially dear, Arjuna. So Krishna became the charioteer of Arjuna, and Krishna gave his army to the opposite people because to stay impartial. It's on their choice. So when Duryodhana was asked whether he wants Krishna or Krishna said, I won't take any weapons. I'll just be there. My support will be there. But my advice, my support, everything will be there. But my army will be fighting opposite to me, whichever. Then Duryodhana chose army of Krishna because advice he doesn't require anyway. Whereas Arjuna chose Krishna over his opulence or army. Whereas Krishna, what is his name? Duryodhana chose his army. In this way, the grand army was arrayed. So this is where the scene where the first chapter begins with, and then of course we are going to see chapter by chapter. And it's not based on chapters. We should understand that Bhagavad Gita is not based on chapters. It is a conversation which happened between Krishna and Arjuna in the form of questions and answers. That's all. And the chapter was divided by Vedavyas for the convenience and easy subjects together. So what he did is he gathered the similar subjects together, and Vyasadeva has given chapters. So Vyasadeva has given 18 chapters for this. Totally 700 verses are there. The 700 verses, some verses are spoken by Sanjaya in the beginning and the end. But in between is all question answer session of Krishna and Arjuna. Arjuna is asking questions and Krishna is answering. That is the way the entire Bhagavad Gita is formed. Total 700 verses, 18 chapter it is divided. And Prabhupada further mentions as 6 chapters each. So there is Karma Yoga, there is Bhakti Yoga, and then there is Jnana Yoga. Like this, it is divided. And in between, of course, the Bhakti Yoga is coming in almost all the portions. And also the Ashtanga Siddhi Yoga is also explained. So in this way, it's divided, totally 18 chapters. As far as Prabhupada is concerned, there are many, many translations. We are choosing the Bhagavad Gita as it is, because it is as it is, without any interpretation, without disturbing the original meaning of this, the text, not for name, fame, glory, position, publishing, getting many copies sold out or becoming famous, or to establish oneself in the spiritual society. No motive except for giving the meaning as it is. There is no other motive of Srila Prabhupada because he came through the authorized disciplic succession. So why do we need to read Bhagavad Gita as it is when there are many, many other translations? We are reading as it is because it is not interpreted and it is coming in the proper chain of disciplic succession. From Krishna, Krishna spoke the Vedic truth, which already we saw in the Ishopanishad introduction. The Vedic truths were spoken by Krishna to Brahma, then Brahma to Narada, Narada to Vyasa. In this way, it is coming down, Madhvacharya, and then Ishwara, and further, then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, then other Acharyas, Goswamis, then we have Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj. In this way, His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, and then now our dear Guru Maharaj Jayapataka Swami Guru Maharaj. In this way, we are also receiving it in proper disciplic succession, and this translation is done by Srila Prabhupada. This translation and purport, both are done by Srila Prabhupada, who is coming in the proper disciplic succession, directly coming from Krishna. So their aim is not distorted. Their aim is very one-pointed, that to please the Lord and to present as it is. So this intention is very pure. There is no other personal intention of influencing anybody on anything, neither, nor for personal name, fame, glory, position, nothing is there. As it is presented. So this Bhagavad Gita as it is what we are going to take up for this. And of course, why do we need to, if I know Sanskrit? I can directly read the Sanskrit verses and try to understand. So that is not possible. Again, the Acharya Parampara is essential to reveal the meanings. The reason being, it is not an ordinary book. So already we saw in Ishopanishad what is relative truth and what is absolute truth, right? So in this Bhagavad Gita is not relative truth, it's absolute truth. So relative truth, we saw that the truth will change according to time, place, and circumstance. But the absolute truth is the one which axiomatic truth. It is so. The Gita Upanishad is already said as essence of Vedas. It's a Upanishad, but Upanishad is the summary of Vedas, and this Gita Upanishad is also the summary of Veda. So no need to read the elaborate Rig, Yajur, Sama, Atharva Vedas, this, that, and all. Simply by reading Bhagavad Gita, we get all the knowledge which is essential in the to be known. Only by 700 verses we are able to understand the complete Vedic literature very easily. So, having said that, just a second.
Mataji, we can't hear you.
Hare Krishna. Sorry. So tomorrow onwards, we'll start reading the introduction portion of the Bhagavad Gita. But to start with, the Bhagavad Gita's introduction, Prabhupada is giving a very elementary to start with, that how everybody can develop a personal relationship with the Supreme Lord. Every individual soul, we are not the body, we are spirit soul, and every soul, we as a person, has a personal connection with the Supreme Personality of Godhead individually. Every single person can develop that. And what are all the various relationships and all. After that, Prabhupada is coming back in the introduction about, there are 5 topics in Bhagavad Gita. So Prabhupada overall brings everything under these 5 topics, which are, first is Ishvara, or the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So what is God? What is not God? Many people claim to be God of something. So that about Ishvara, a clear understanding of who is God. The second is Jiva, the living entity. How the living entity is different from the body. And what is that? Nobody in the world teaches the science of spirit soul. So Prabhupada here, it's also called Sankhya Yoga, or the yoga of discriminating between matter and spirit. Which is matter, which is spirit. Very clear understanding and clear discrimination. So this is Jiva, about the living entity, about ourselves. Who are we? So that living entity, that is Jiva, there is a second topic. And then the third topic is Prakriti. Prakriti is nature. So we are living in the material world and we see so many items around us. So Prakriti actually means more than the material. But here the discussion is about the Prakriti, which is created by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, in which we are all present, the realm in which we are present, the situation and scenarios which we are seeing, which we are undergoing, which we are looking around us from the time we are born. We have a perspective or a vision of this world. So that is one of the Prakriti of Krishna, and we will get to know that very well. And then the fourth can be either Kala or Karma. So the fourth is the Kala or the time, how we are bound by time, how the time controls us and how it takes us towards destruction, and how the time is different for different planetary systems. These things, how the universe also is temporary. So all those we will see under the Kala. And then the fifth topic is karma. Or the karma generally is covered fourth or fifth, doesn't matter. Karma is about the activities which we perform in this world. So the Prakriti is like noun, where we have many things in this world. But on the things we start working in the Prakriti, or it's said a field and field of activity, like a person who's having a field in which he is cultivating. So there is a field in which he is getting down and he's sowing the seed, he's reaping the result. In this way, we keep acting and acting. The living entity tries to act in this Prakriti field. So that karma means activities. So the various types of activities we already saw in Ishopanishad, karma, karma, vikarma. So that is also elaborated here, and how a living entity takes different bodies based on the various activities which he performs. So all those are also explained in Bhagavad Gita. So totally Bhagavad Gita has 5 topics as per Prabhupada, and Prabhupada is mentioning each one separately and elaborating it in the introduction to Bhagavad Gita. So we are going to see the analytical study of Bhagavad Gita in this perspective to start with. So we will very nicely do the introduction. If you do the introduction very well, then it is very easy to understand any verses of Bhagavad Gita. So further, we'll see one by one today. Just I'll give you a basic, because as it is Gita Jayanti, we will touch certain aspects of Bhagavad Gita to start with tomorrow before we start reading. So the first is Ishvara, the supreme controller. Ishvara means supreme controller. So we already know the Brahma Samhita, in which we have learned Ishvara Paramakrishna Satsidananda Vigraha Anadir Adi Govinda Sarvakarana Karanam. A great definition by Brahma. The reason being it dilutes, it kills many wrong conceptions about the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So sometimes we say, okay, God created everything. Then somebody may ask, who created God? Like that. So Brahma very clearly says, Anadir Adi Govinda. Anadi, you don't have a beginning, but everything is beginning from you. So you're the root cause. So when there is a seed, and from the seed everything sprouts, and the seed turns into a root, and then from there a big tree comes up. So the root cause of all causes, or the fountainhead of everything, for whom there is no beginning. Anadi means there is no Adi for you, but Anadir Adi Govinda, like this. So the same thing in Bhagavad Gita, the Ishvara portion. Krishna reveals himself to be the supreme controller, supreme proprietor, and friend of all. In this way, he is revealing himself. Apart from that, the Supreme Lord mainly to speak with 3 aspects are there. This we already saw in Ishopanishad, that the Supreme Personality of Godhead has 3 aspects: Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. So the Bhagavan is the original Supreme Personality of Godhead himself, and that is Krishna. And the light which is effulgence, which is coming out of the body of the Bhagavan, is Brahman. This is enshrined in Ishopanishad. The proof from Veda Vyas Veda. The Veda Upanishad is also part of Vedas. And we already saw that in the last 15th, 16th verse. of Ishwanishad, that the devotee is requesting the Lord to remove that effulgence and show himself. So this is a proof, and in Bhagavad Gita also there are verses, Brahmano hi pratishtaham. So I am the one who is the source of the Brahman. So Brahman is dependent on me, Paramatma is dependent on me, but I am independent. So Krishna is fully independent. Krishna is not dependent on anything. But Brahman is anything which is dependent cannot be God. Totally independence is the aspect of God. So God should not be dependent on anything. So, but the Brahman is also dependent on the Supreme Lord. Paramatma is also dependent, because Paramatma is nothing but the localized aspect of the Lord. He is there everywhere. At the same time, he is there in Goloka Vrindavana, his own abode. In the Vaikuntha planets, in spiritual world, he is there. At the same time, he is in every atom. Every part of the creation has his presence. Every part, every bit, every anu means atom. Every single atom, till the last bit of atom, it doesn't have the influence of Krishna, but it has Krishna. Of course, his influence is also there, but personally he is present. That is the science. So Brahman, there are three aspects of the Supreme Lord: Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. The Brahman is the effulgence which is coming from Bhagavan Krishna. Paramatma is the localized aspect of the Lord, all pervasive in the material world. In spiritual world, there is no Paramatma. In every atom and in everybody's heart. In material world, the Supreme Lord is present. It's not that this is material world, Lord is not there, Krishna is there in the spiritual world. Not like that. Because we are conditioned that we cannot be in many places when we are in one place. Doesn't mean that Krishna cannot be so. Krishna can be in his own place, at the same time he can be everywhere. So Bhagavan is the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself, a personal, beautiful, original, supreme God. So this is the first topic. So the example which is given in the second chapter is that the Supreme Lord is like the Bhagavan is like the sun planet. The sun surface is there. There is a personality there also. Where there is sun surface, that is like Paramatma. The sunshine is like Brahman. So the example is given by Srila Prabhupada, and also in the purport by Srila Prabhupada, when this concept is explained in the Bhagavad Gita. So this already we saw Brahman, Paramatma, Bhagavan. But another most important aspects which we need to know about the Ishvara is who is not Ishvara. So we need to have discussions on how the demigods were considered as Ishvara and Krishna is not. That also we will be seeing inside the part of Bhagavad Gita. Now, not just who is Ishvara is mentioned, but who is not Ishvara is also, which is wrongly considered in this world. So how misunderstandings are there, considering somebody as God, some power as God, laughter as God, smile as God, love as God, like this. Of course, everything is emanation of God, doesn't mean the Lord is impersonal and is just love. Lord is a lovable person. Lord is an effulgent person. All the sounds emanate. See his beautiful flute. And all the sounds emanate from his lips speak beautiful words, and every word is a song, and every walk is a dance. And that song which came out of his lotus lip is Bhagavad Gita. That is why we don't say that the Bhagavad Shastra. We're saying Bhagavad Gita. Gita means song of the Supreme Personality of God. So these are all some of the aspects which will also be covered, where we will see that who is worshipping where and who will go there. So Ishvara portion of Bhagavad Gita covers many such aspects, both about who is Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, Supreme Controller, at the same time who is not. And how the various misunderstandings, the divisions of faith. We have the people in different faith they have, and what are all the various types of faith on personalities, and the difference between that faith and the faith which is had on the Supreme Lord. And what about imaginary gods, imaginary things which are not even present? These are all the questions which are asked by Arjuna, and Krishna very systematically answers. So that is Ishvara portion of Bhagavad Gita. Then we have the Jiva portion. Jiva is, before going into Jiva, Krishna also has three energies. Apart from that, Brahman, Paramatma, Bhagavan are three features of Krishna. But actually, Krishna doesn't have three energies. He has unlimited energy. Today, how beautiful it was that Guru Maharaj class, kindly listen. It's an amazing class. Not only today, every day is very nice things are revealed. Today's topic was Shaktigata Bhagavat Anubhavam. Means how to experience Supreme Personality of Godhead through his Shakti. So the Krishna Shakti or potency or energy is unlimited and inconceivable. Inconceivable means you cannot imagine. You cannot conceive, you cannot understand your logic and argument or understanding. Whatever, however talented and intelligent you cannot understand. That's all, inconceivable. Even to Krishna himself, he is getting bewildered by his seeing his own power or Shakti. But overall, this entire Shakti can be, they are unlimited and inconceivable, but they can be categorized. Today it was about Ekadashi. One time Krishna, there was a Asura called Mura. That Krishna is called Murari. Of course, Krishna also killed, because his Shakti killed means he killed. So this Mura, that Asura was fighting and fighting with Krishna. So Vishnu was fighting. Then he thought, okay, I'll take rest. This guy is fighting for 1,000 celestial years. And he just went into a cave and he started to rest. So that time that Mura Asura thought, okay, now the Krishna has gone to rest, the Vishnu. So I'll go and just kill him. This is the right time. And then Mura came in. At that time, the Krishna was resting. So from his body came one of the Shakti of him. And it didn't want anyone to disturb the Supreme Lord's sleep. So what that Shakti did is, it fought with that, and various weapons appeared, very beautiful young girl. And that Asura tried to attack her, and she just killed him in one chop, very quickly. Within one chop, she finished that demon. Of course, Krishna was playing with that demon. Krishna, by chintana, by thinking that the Asura has to die, he will die. But he was performing, but the Shakti. Then Krishna woke up, Vishnu woke up and he saw, wow, okay, this Asura is killed. How? I only killed him. Okay, so who are you? Vishnu is asking, who are you? Then she is telling, I am your Shakti, one of your Shakti. I just came in order to serve you. And she offers obeisances, that I am one of your Shakti. So please give me a name. Then Krishna named, sir, okay, name and how people will deal with me. So he said, okay, I'll name you as Ekadashi. By his own free will, he just chose. The 11th day from the waxing moon and the waning moon will be your day. And people will fast on that day and remember me. That is the way they'll celebrate you. In this way, he just named her. So this Krishna, for Krishna himself, it's inconceivable, potency is inconceivable. So much Shakti he has. So, but overall, it is divided into three categories: internal energy, marginal energy, and external energy. So this internal energy is the spiritual nature. Entire spiritual world is created with this. It's also called as Daivi Prakriti. So this word, Prakriti, is nothing but creation of Dhamma or creation of energy. The Prakriti itself is the energy. Just understand that energy, Shakti is equal to Prakriti. So the Andaranga Shakti, Daivi Prakriti, spiritual nature. So that is where the Supreme Personality of Godhead resides there, because everything is spiritual there, and he is also spiritual. Sat Siddhananda. We are also spiritual, we belong there, but we didn't choose to live there. Because we are marginal potency, we have the ability to live in matter and also in the spiritual world. But basically, we are spiritual. So Sat Siddh Ananda is what pervades there. Sandhini Sakti, Samvit Sakti, and Haladini Shakti. Like this. So marginal energy, the living entities, is the second type of energy. Krishna's three energy category. So this marginal energy, Jiva, whatever we saw, that is the Bhagavad Gita's topic, second topic. And the external energy, material nature, is the third topic. So in the second topic, and the marginal energy is separated energy from Krishna. It's also part and parcel of the Lord. He is also Satchidananda. The external energy, the material nature, is separate energy or Bhinna Prakriti. That is the material world. Jada. Jada means non-living, not conscious. Whereas the marginal energy is conscious because it is Amsa of Krishna and it's a living force. Whereas the Jada Prakriti is not conscious and it's three modes of material nature: goodness, passion, and ignorance. So these three modes of material nature doesn't belong to spirit soul. It is called material nature. Three modes of material nature. So the material or the external energy or Bahiranga Shakti, it has its own quality. Jada. That is Rajoguna, Tamoguna, and Satoguna. It has nothing to do with the spirit soul or ours. We are spirit souls, and our characteristics is Satchidananda. So our characteristics is totally different from the material nature's character. So this is what is the three different energies of Krishna, major categories, but unlimited Shaktis are there in each one of them. If you do Eko Bahunam, Yo Vidatati Kaman, that is, if you take marginal energy, Krishna is only one, but marginal energy is unlimited living entities. You see how many grass is there, how many the plants, trees, animals, reptiles. See around you, you see thousands and thousands insects, microorganisms. They say that the germs are there. You wear this thing, viruses are there. Very unlimited. So much we are looking, and this is in just in one place of 10 by 10 feet by 10 feet or 1 kilometer by 1 kilometer. We see this much. Then think about the entire universe, and then multiple millions of universes, koti koti brahmanda. So marginal energy is that much, and the same way, the internal energy, unlimited different varieties of internal energy to serve the Supreme Lord, and external energy also, variegatedness you can see in the world. So in this way, unlimited potency, Supreme Personality of Godhead has. And of course, abode of the Supreme Lord is Daivi Prakriti, that is internal, and that is also described in Bhagavad Gita, Sanatana Dhamma. Not in very detail, you should understand that it's not described in very detail, but in very good condensed manner, that is also explained. Abode of the Supreme Lord, energy of the Supreme Lord, and this three aspects of the Supreme Lord. All these are explained in Bhagavad Gita. The second topic of Bhagavad Gita is Jiva, or the living entities. So in this material world, in this particular universe, we have 84 lakh species of living entities. Already we saw in Ishopanishad. So the soul will take the body, but the jiva itself is a living force. So the jiva is Satchidananda Vigraha, but in material world, it is taking body. So in that body, variety is 84 lakh species. Doesn't mean that the jiva is the body. No. So these concepts are also covered as part of Bhagavad Gita. So the second topic, maybe you can unmute. Let us chant some verses, some one or two verses, just because today is Gita Jayanti. I don't want it to be left untouched. So I just added some verse. All of you can unmute and repeat. Dehinosmin yata dehe.
देहिनोऽस्मिन् यथा देहे
Kaumaram yavvanam jara.
कौमारं
यवनं जरा
तथा देहांतर प्राप्तिर
तथा
देहान्तरप्राप्तेर्
देहान्तरप्राप्तिः
धीरस्तत्र न मुह्यति.
दीनस्तत्र न मूयते।
धीरस्तत्र
Somebody can read the translation and the purport portion.
As the embodied soul continuously passes in this body from boyhood to youth to old age, the soul similarly passes into another body at death. A sober person is not bewildered by such a change. Purport. Since every living entity is an individual soul, each is changing his body every moment, manifesting sometimes as a child, sometimes as a youth, and sometimes as an old man. Yet the same spirit soul is there and does not undergo any change. This individual soul finally changes the body at death and transmigrates to another body.
Thank you. So The living entity is moving from one body to another. So when we were very small babies, and then we grew, and when we grew, and when we grew, so that the living entity is, we are changing bodies every moment. That we should understand. It's not the death alone changes our body. So if you look at your body right now, and if you take a photograph which you have taken before 15 years or 20 years, take that particular photograph and look at yourself right now, totally changed. So the body has changed, but the same spirit, same personality is there within. So you say that that's me. You say that that's me. So you are the one who actually passed, but the body keeps changing. And at the time of death, again, another body comes and the soul passes into that body. That's all. So this is a sober person will understand the basic concept, elementary lesson of Bhagavad Gita is this. So in the second chapter, mostly covers this science, which is considered most important portion of Bhagavad Gita, because Prabhupada gives for the second chapter the Gita condensed, means summary of Bhagavad Gita. That is the heading Prabhupada is giving to this chapter. And then another quality of the spirit soul, we are not the body, we are spirit soul, is another verse. We will read this. All of you repeat after me. Na jayate mriyate va kadachin.
न जायते
jayate mrite va kadachin.
Nayam bhutva bhavita va na bhuya.
Ayam
भूत्वा
bhutva
भविता वा
bhavita
न भूया
Ajo nitya shashvato yam purano.
अजो
ajo
नित्य
nitya
शाश्वतोऽयं
sarvato yam
पुराणो
purano
Na hanyate hanyamane sarire.
हन्यते
hanyate hanyamane
हान्यमाने
sarire.
शरीरे.
So this is a verse of good news. This is for preaching. It's very powerful, where we can tell to the people that you can go into deathlessness. You are deathless. So when we say that, we can take you into deathlessness. Everybody is scared of death, and we say that, excuse me, we can tell that you don't have death. So people will be happy, of course. And this is the one of the best news Krishna is giving in Bhagavad Gita. So can somebody read the translation and the portion of purport?
For the soul, there is neither birth nor death at any time. Has not come into being, does not come into being, and will not come into being. He is unborn, eternal, ever existing, and primeval. He is not slain, and when the body is slain. Purport. Qualitatively, the small atomic fragmental part of the Supreme Spirit is one with the Supreme. He undergoes no changes like the body. Sometimes the soul is called the steady or kutastha. The body is subject to 6 kinds of transformation. It takes its birth from the womb of the mother's body, remains for some time, grows, produces some effects, gradually dwindles, and at last vanishes into oblivion.
So primarily, everybody identifies themselves with the body. Because in the present state of existence, that is what we are. It's natural. That is why we require a scripture, to Bhagavad Gita, to understand what basically it is. So here, Krishna very clearly explains the soul is neither birth nor death, and we are not the body, we are spirit soul, we are temporarily keep changing the body. And we have direct evidence for this. Many, many direct evidences are there. And that is also explained in this portion, where in this portion and further also in between, we can come across how being a spirit soul, we are different from the matter. And the matter has its own nature, and we, spirit soul, has our own nature. And we are acting very unnaturally situated within the body. That is the reason for all our suffering. And when we regain our position and act as a spirit soul, then we don't have any issues. It is our natural position. And within the body, is it possible to act as a soul? Yes. So these are all some of the aspects that. So as far as body is concerned, it undergoes the changes. It's born, 6 kinds of transformation. It takes in the mother's womb. It takes up the body. And after that it is born, then remains for some time, grows, produces some effects. Maybe children, gradually dwindles, and at last many items. Of course, he produces some effects. And he constructs some buildings, this, that, and all, some activity, and also he produces from his own body some other baby or whatever, gradually dwindles, and at last vanishes into oblivion. In this way, the body undergoes the transformation, but the spirit soul is the same personality. The same person is traveling through in various shapes and sizes, and in the name of creatures, 84 lakh such species bodies are there, varieties, and one keeps changing the body. Okay, I'll read this. Vasamsi jirnani yata vihaya navani grihnati. Okay. Navani grihnati naroparani. तथा शरीराणि विहाय जीर्णानि अन्यानि संयाति नवानि देहि. Summary read.
As a person puts on new garments, giving up old ones, the soul similarly accepts new material bodies, giving up the old and useless ones.
Yeah, so people are bewildered about death. What happens here? Death will happen. He died. Suddenly he died. Nobody dies suddenly. Everybody is destined to die. And where are we going? We are all going towards death. That's all. So the death is inevitable. We have seen our great-grandfather, grandfather, everybody die. And if we know so many people are dead, in history book you read, whatever people you read in history book, everybody is dead. Then they became part of history book. That's all. So it is so inevitable. So there is nothing wrong in talking something factual, and it is going to happen to anybody and everybody, and we should be well prepared for it, right? So it is important to know what happens. So that secret is also unveiled here. How a person will change his shirt, or when the old garment is torn away, he gives it up and he puts a new one. The same way, the soul also accepts the new body. When the old body, either, for example, if there is an accident, then the body is torn into pieces. It cannot be put together. Then it just, the soul leaves the body and takes up another body. Of course, the next body, there is a sequence of decision making happens before the next body is given. But the body is given. Depends on how he used the previous shirt. He is given a new shirt. What purpose he used the previous shirt. A similar new shirt is given. So the death is only that much. There is nothing to bewilder. So useless, and or when somebody becomes old age, and naturally it is no more usable. Then the old garment has to be given and the new garment has to be accepted. So this is the secret of death. Many very wonderful things about this is mentioned. So about Jiva, this is about Jiva. There are very clear conception of what is matter, what is spirit, and how we are different from the body. Everything is very clearly explained in Bhagavad Gita. So that is the second topic, and the third topic is Prakriti, is material nature, how the inferior energy or Jada Prakriti is created by Krishna. So Krishna mentions that the Prakriti is created by him, the material nature, and it is inferior. So we already saw that Krishna has 3 energies: inferior nature, marginal nature, and superior nature. Superior is spiritual or Antaranga Shakti. And the marginal is living entities. We are all on the marginal energy. We are like cat on the wall. We can either live in the material world or we can live in the spiritual world. And living in spiritual world is natural for us because we are also spiritual. But living in the material world is very unnatural and very disturbing environment for us, living entity. So this external energy or inferior energy or Jada Prakriti. So that is Bahiranga Shakti. It's also called Bahiranga Shakti. Whereas the superior nature is called Andaranga Shakti. So Krishna's Andaranga, Krishna's Bahiranga. So this Prakriti, material nature, that's also created by Krishna only. Only thing is he doesn't come and touch it, but he only created it. So that is said to be Binna Prakriti. Krishna is telling that it is Binna Prakriti. So what are all the elements which are there in this Binna Prakriti? There are two things, of course, three modes of material nature and the elements. There are two things. One is noun, another is verb. What is noun? All of you would have studied English. You would have studied noun, elements, items in this world. Things. There are many things. Like, for example, pen, pencil, table, chair. All these things are nouns. Whereas move, talk, walk, these are all action related. So that is called verb, activities. Same way, here we have this two aspects of Jada Prakriti. One is the things which are there in this world are all created based on some elements. Even you would have studied elements and compound like this. And second is the activity which will be performed on these elements. So the elements basically are Panchabhuta. Everybody says Panchabhuta, Panchabhuta, but totally eight material elements are there. Earth, water, fire, air, ether. Ether means space, mind, intelligence, and falsi. So, earth is there. Water, fire, air, ether, space, mind, intelligence, and falsi. Go. So that is also mentioned in one of the sloka in Bhagavad Gita. Of course, Bhagavad Gita covers and elaborate how the Prakriti is working. Prakriti kriyamana niguna karmani sarva. Very, very many slokas about Prakriti. But we should understand Prakriti properly. What is that? External energy. She's represented by a personality called Durga. But Durga means jail, prison house, prison house. And she's also created, she's also one of the energy of Krishna. So this is, but she is separated energy of Krishna and she is Bahiranga Shakti. So the elements which are of that separated material energy. So what is this? Repeat after me. Bhumir apo analo vayu.
भूमिरपो अनुलो वायु
Mano buddhireva cha.
मनो बुद्धिरे
Ahankara iti yamme.
Ahankara iti yamme
Vinna prakriti ashtada.
vinna prakritir ashtata.
Read. Translate.
Earth, water, fire, air, mind, intelligence, and falsi. Altogether, these eight constitute my separated material energies.
Yes. So not just Panchabhuta alone. Earth, water, fire, air, space, we all know. Mind also material, intelligence is also material, falsi is also material. All these are material energy of Krishna. There are totally eight elements, and all these eight elements are matter. So no misunderstanding of mind to be the soul or the intelligence to be the soul. The soul or jiva is the second topic which we already saw. Now we are seeing the third topic, prakriti. This is external material energy. So material matter. So what does matter consist of? Matter consists of earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, and falsi. Go. And 84 lakh species of bodies are created using these elements only. So these are all the elements. Okay, fine. But how does the activity happen in this world? Okay, so there is, you have the hardware and the software. The hardware alone cannot function, but hardware are all things. Physically, you can see. But there must be some software which works also, right? So there is also gunas, three gunas. So that is also material nature. Three modes of material nature or gunas of material nature. So mode of goodness, which is called sattva guna, mode of passion, that is rajoguna, mode of ignorance, tamoguna. These three are material nature, three modes of material nature. So the jiva, he becomes conditioned by these three modes. So repeat after me. Sattvam rajas tama iti.
Sattvam Rajatama iti
Guna Prakriti Sambhava
Guna Prakriti Sambhava
Nibandhanti Mahabaho
Nibbadhanti Mahabaho
Dehe Dehinam Avyayam.
Dehe Avayam.
Translation.
Material nature consists of three modes: goodness, passion, and ignorance. When the eternal living entity comes in contact with nature, O mighty armed Arjuna, he becomes conditioned by these modes.
So the living entity is totally spiritual. He is eternal. He ever lives. But when he is coming in contact with this nature, then he becomes conditioned by these three modes of material nature. And you can see the picture here, how the conditioning happens. So, but the spirit soul lives inert. It doesn't act, because the spirit soul's basic activity is devotional service or service to Krishna, spiritual in nature. The activity, the spirit soul is spiritual. The activity should also be spiritual. But the body is material. So the body requires some external elements to act. The external, we can say, influencers to act. And these three modes of material nature are helping the body move across, move into certain way, do certain activities. So these activities are being carried out. The matter seems to be moving by two reasons. One is the living entity, and the living entity expresses desire. Then the Supreme Lord sanctions. Then the mode of material nature acts. Because the spirit soul doesn't have the ability to move the matter. But by the Supreme Lord's will, the matter moves. So we have a package of the living entity and the Paramatma living in the matter of the body. So there are three people you can see here in this material world. One is the material body, which is made of material nature, material elements, and acting based on three modes of material nature. But inside that body, there are two of them situated, Atma and Paramatma, the Supreme Lord. So the living entity will only desire to do things. The matter will not move based on the order of the living entity. But of course, the matter will move on the order of the Supreme Lord. So in this way. So it looks like that the person is doing, but the person is actually doing. The reason is the desire for such activity comes from the spirit soul. So this is what is the three modes of material nature. So how does the consciousness, pure consciousness of the spirit soul is very, very pure, the spirit soul is. But it seems like he's a very bad person. He does various activities, or he's a good person, or he's a passionate person. In this way, we are seeing various people with various characteristics and attitude is because they are influenced. Like the example which is given is a colored glass. So sometimes the children, they play with the colored glass or a color paper, plastic paper, which is transparent. And they try to see items using that paper and everything, a blue color paper, then everything will look blue. The same way, the pure consciousness of the soul is there, but the items are all not blue in the world. But because we are seeing through that paper, it looks like blue. The same way, here also, the pure consciousness of the soul is there, but through the mode of goodness, it looks like a good person, and the bad person through the mode of ignorance, Rajoguna, Tamoguna. In this way, it looks good or bad, or a certain character, which is not him, is reflected based on how much influence he has on in the three modes of nature. They compete with each other, and everybody has various proportions of each of this. And based on this, their behavior, their characters, everything will change. That guna. Guna means character. So everybody has different character in this world. And that is because how much influence of various guna of matter they have. But as far as spirit soul is concerned, it's Satsidananda Vigraha and is Jivera Swarupoi Krishnera Nityadas. So that is totally different. So how does the material world is created? Material nature is also Krishna's creation. So all moving and non-moving beings are there. This manifestation is created also and annihilated again and again by the Supreme Lord. It's temporary in nature. We should understand the spiritual world, the internal potencies creation, everything is permanent. Whereas the material world and everything which is created in the material world is temporary. And the person also undergoes death and the universe also undergoes dissolution. The universe also undergoes destruction or pralaya. It undergoes scientifically, straightforward, imaginary or allegorically we are not speaking, we are speaking as it is. If it undergoes destruction, means it undergoes destruction. You know what destruction is, as simple as that. So the material world is also created by Krishna only. So that is also Krishna's energy. So that is also mentioned in Bhagavad Gita. In very elaborate, very, very nicely, all these 5 topics are explained in elaboration. We are just seeing one sample of one sloka. There are many verses. Okay. Repeat after me about the material world. Maya Adhyakshena Prakriti. Suyate cha saracharam.
Suyate sarasaram.
Hetunanena kaunteya.
Hetunadena kaunteya.
Jagat viparivartate.
Jagat viparvartate. This material nature, which is one of my energy, is working under my direction. O son of Kunti, producing all moving and non-moving beings. Under its rule, this manifestation is created and annihilated again and again.
So the Supreme Lord only is creating and he is only in charge. He is the controller. He is working under Krishna's direction. The material nature is also working on Krishna's, however he orders, she obeys. She is a very obedient servant of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And next is the karma or the activities. Oh, this is fourth kala, we didn't know. Okay, based on the Rajoguna, Tamoguna, and Sattva the living entity does many, many activities in this world, right? From the time of birth, we are there, we are eating, sleeping, and as we grow, we playing. Then we go to school, we are studying. Then gradually we start working in various ways. All these are activities. So that is also covered in Bhagavad Gita. So Bhagavad Gita's the fourth another topic is activity. So there are 3 types of activities. We already saw this in Ishopanishad: karma, akarma, and vikarma. So the pious actions or karma, which binds a person with good results of enjoyment. This is based on scriptures. Oh, he's a very religious person. He does yajna, he does tapasya, he does worship of demigods, this, that, and then generally they call based on religion. Based on various religion have various activity based on their scriptures, and specifically based on Vedic culture. If somebody does, he gets good results, he get a good birth, he's born amongst the demigods. All these are it binds a person with good results. So in order to reap the good result, he has to come back again into this material world. Again, he has to be born. The second is the last one you see, that is forbidden action. First is action, karma. And vikarma is forbidden action, sinful activity, acting against the scriptures. It binds a person with bad results, and of course he suffers. Like sowing a tasty seed and of a tree and reaping a tasty fruit. Sowing a bitter fruit or a poisonous seed, then you get poisonous fruit. So that is the difference. But both of them are sowing a seed. So they have to come back to reap the result. So karma phala, the result is awaiting. So one has to come back to the material world. In the material world, they'll be born again and again. And this action, this karma and vikarma are the reason for rebirth. Bondage. Both are bondage. In a good way or a bad way, you're bound. But that akarma means no activity. The person will continuously perform activity, but that will not yield any material result. So it's neither good nor bad. It is transcendental activity. So these kind of transcendental activities will liberate a person from material bondage. For example, we are doing devotional services, bhakti. Other than that, there are 1 or 2 transcendental activity. We will come back to this meditation and other things, where they neither do positive or negative karma, but they don't, they don't know the goal where they are proceeding. They're getting lost, the yogis and jnanis. So they renounce the good and bad activities. They give up, but they don't know the ultimate goal is to worship Krishna, to attain this planetary system, attain the love of Krishna. This aim they don't know. So they're getting lost in between, but their activity is also considered transcendental, but without any proper result. But the bhakti activities which we are performing will liberate a person from the material bondage. Because there is no material result for it, so we don't come back to yield the result. So this is about karma. And the living entity, I think we are running out of time, so I just would like to. The living entity, how the karma is also, the activity is also carried forward in the next life. How we are getting new bodies, like a demigod body or a pig body or a dog body, whatever body we're going to get in our next life. Some people are suffering, some people are enjoying from the time of birth. Some people say that you work hard, you will enjoy. And a child which is born in a multimillionaire family, the minute it is born, immediately it is enjoying. It didn't work hard in this present life. So the hard work has been done in the previous life. So not because of hard work he is getting the result. His good work will give good results. Good and bad work will give bad results. That's all, not hard work, but good work. Even do a little work, then good work. But good or bad, both will bind us, and a fool only will undergo either good or bad activities. An intelligent person will try to cut the knot of material existence and get himself liberated into his own original home, original constitutional position. So how the if there is a flower or anything which will carry the aroma, far away the flower will be there, but we can smell it here, or somebody else will be cooking somewhere else, but we can feel the smell here. So the air is carrying that smell. Same way, the subtle body, it carries the karma to the next body, so that the next body is determined based on the previous body's activities. So there is a strong connection between what body you got, what suffering and enjoyment you got, what education you got, how you looked, everything has a strong connection with your previous lifetime, based on which only you have come. So you cannot keep cursing your situations and try to adjust and try to adjust and try to adjust. Sorry, the result is already done. You're already provided the fruit. Now you cannot change the fruit, but you can change the future results, but not the present result which you're getting. Try to manipulate it. That is not possible. And the last topic is Kala. I'm sorry, it has come back and forth. Kala is time. Specifically, time is mentioned in 2 aspects in Bhagavad Gita. One aspect is the difference of time between our world and Brahma's lifetime, demigod's lifetimes, these calculations, and how the time is the primary destroyer. Due to time only, this material world is temporary. The temporariness is brought by the time. Like, for example, you are standing in an escalator and it will keep moving. Same way, the escalator of time. We are standing in the escalator of time. The escalator goes up. I can say walkalator. You're standing in the walkalator keeps moving, but the belt is keep on moving. You cannot stop it. Same way, the time keeps going and we are heading towards destruction. We are heading every item which is created. The day it is created, the next day, not next day, the minute an item is created in this world, that moment onwards, its expiry date starts. It is going towards expiry. So who's pulling an item towards expiry? Let it be a body or let it be any item in this world. A depreciation happens. They say that you buy a car today. Tomorrow the car comes to 80% of the cost. Not even 80, 50%. The next day, you want to sell it. Yesterday only I bought, today I am selling. Still, the car will have only 50, 60%. Why? because already it is considered old car. Same way, the minute you are born, the next minute you are old. And in this way, we become old and we head towards the destruction or death. Same way, every item in this material world is consumed by time. So Krishna is telling, I am that all-devouring death, I am the Kala. So the word Kala is used for destruction. So the death or destruction, that is Kala. So from the body which we have till the universe, everything is going to get destroyed. So the temporary material world, Ashashvatam. Dukkha alayam ashashvatam. This is the definition Krishna is giving for this material world. So we all are going towards the death. Then this is due to the influence of time. Everything. So of course we have a detailed. Okay. This is the overview of Bhagavad Gita. I just wanted to touch the 5 topics of Bhagavad Gita. Jiva, Ishvara, Kala, Karma, Prakriti. Jiva is me or us, spirit souls. Ishvara is the supreme God. And then Prakriti is nature, material nature. And then Kala is time and Karma is activities. These are the 5 main topics of Bhagavad Gita. Okay, we'll conclude here. Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Guru Maharaj ki jai. Thank you very much. And any questions or comments, immediately do it. You have any questions? Of course, we will study in detail. It's very premature to ask any questions. But if the question is primitive or basic, you can always ask. There is no problem. Other than these 5 topics, Bhagavad Gita also covers yoga, various yoga systems and the topmost yoga system. That's also being covered. But Prabhupada primarily mentions only these 5 topics or topics of Bhagavad Gita. He says that overall Bhagavad Gita covers everything within these 5 topics only. Okay, any questions?
No questions, ma'am. Just a question, like whatever the presentation was so nice and it was so easy to understand. The way we are starting Bhagavad Gita, like what we are learning and the gist we gave. So it was very simple to understand. Like, of course, we have not gone through fully, but the way you explained it one point, like how we are going through, it was very nice with the presentation. Thank you, ma'am. That's all I want to say.
Okay, but I'm very seriously doubtful whether I'll be able to provide a very nice presentations like this every day during Bhagavad Gita. It's a very elaborate book. So mostly we'll be reading the book, but for every chapter, I will be able to give a basic overview. Thank you very much for encouraging. Thank you so much, Preeti. But even though I try to do it for every sloka, it's not possible because it's very elaborate. So we will be doing for 18 chapters are there and introduction is there. So I did something for the introduction. Some more can be done for the introduction. And mainly for 18 chapters, overview portion certainly will be there, in which every chapter will be explained in this way. So that later, if you want to have a revision, you can go to the particular YouTube video and you can have a look at what is there in that chapter. And after doing the teacher's training course, if you would, when you are taking classes, then you can have some material at that time. After teacher's training course, we'll be giving you some materials. So you can use them in your preaching, 18 days Bhagavad Gita or whatever, or some outreach programs or Bhakti Shastri mainly. So all these things you can use. Thank you, Preeti. Okay. If there are no more questions or comments, then we can wind up here. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Okay. Jai Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Guru Maharaj ki jai. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah.
Prayer, please check with residents regarding what are the tasks coming in